Recording has begun. Well, first of all, on behalf of the United Prairie Bank team, thank you so much for joining today. We had a good number of registrants, but maybe we'll definitely, like I say, record the session and share it out for those not able to attend today. Our goal is just to make sure that we are serving the cannabis industry that's new and upcoming here in Minnesota, and just wanted to provide a platform for folks to, ask those questions of bankers that they have on their mind. As the licensing process seems to be continuing, I saw some news yesterday that some legalities and through the state are trying to get buttoned up so that licensing can continue to move along. So, banking is going to become important for businesses as they get licensed. So we want to be a resource and provide a platform. So that's our plan today. Just a really quick intro before we get into the good stuff, the Q&A. I'm just going to introduce United Prairie Bank and let you know who we are if you don't know us already. Excuse me. We are a family-owned bank from the state of Minnesota. Our third generation of the Sneer family is involved in our operations, and we're very proud to be family-owned. We are also a top ag lender in the state of Minnesota and number 6 in the nation. We do a whole lot of ag. We're very much invested in agriculture and business in Minnesota. We are invested in our communities growing and thriving, hence why we're here today. We are excited to be offering banking to cannabis businesses in Minnesota. Where are we? We are a pretty much southern Minnesota bank. So you'll see we have a map there on the screen. We're up north. Spicer's our most northern location up by Wilmer there. And then you got Madison over on the Dakota border. And then we also have offices in Newell, Mankato, Waseca, Owatonna, the Highway 14 corridor. And then we're in the southwest part of the state on the Highway 1690 corridor there, Mountain Lake, Windham, Wilmot, Worthington. As we go along further, we'll share that geography doesn't limit us. We're able to serve clients wherever you are. So that's an important takeaway for today. We're headquartered out of Mankato, and we're a full service bank. We've got about 135, 140 employees, and are proud again to be family owned and serving Minnesota. And again, the reason we're here also is because we are going to be supporting cannabis related banks, and that goes for any marijuana direct and indirect businesses, as well as hemp related businesses, and then the hemp and hemp derived cannabinoid, which we already are providing banking for a number of customers in that realm. So we're not totally new to the hemp space, but of course, like any other Minnesota company, we are new to the cannabis part of the business. But we're excited to be here to serve and hoping that today's beneficial for you. So I want to just quickly introduce the team on the call that's going to be answering the questions that we have. So you'll see their faces in the little squares around your screen, but also in the slideshow, we've got Brandon Prang. He's our cannabis lending expert. We've got Katie Oftedal. She is kind of touches a lot of things, BSA, our cash services, just general banking, very knowledgeable on the topic. Shelly Dahl's on the call. She is our program sponsor from our executive team, operations officer, again, all the banking knowledge. We've got Mary Loftus on the call. She is our deposit and cash management specialist that helps businesses with their deposits. We've got Andrea Marinenko. She's our VSA officer. So, helping with due diligence that's required for banking. And then I'm Leslie Vermillion. I'm sales and communications person. And then a couple others that aren't on the screen that are, I'll just give them a shout out. We've got Justin Day on the call, another banker and lender with the company. Scott Miller is our chief executive officer. He's on the call. And as well as Rick Getlick. He's our Chief Credit Officer. We've got Tess Reeser, our Compliance and Audit Manager. Megan Paylor's a marketing team member. So you kind of got the whole, you got a nice big crew here today. So we should be able to answer some questions for you. If for some reason you throw a zinger our way or one comes in that we can't answer, well, we'll follow up. So that's the plan for today. And we're going to kick off with our pre-submitted questions. So when we asked folks to join in, we asked for a lot of questions and we asked some really good ones. So we will start with those questions. I'm going to just moderate and go around the horn with those questions, get those answered, and then we'll open it up for any other questions that you may have, and we're happy to take those live as well. So, all right. Well, I think Andrea's up first. Hello, Andrea. Again, Andrea's our BSA officer, so she's all things compliance due diligence. Andrea, one question that we had come in was to be a customer of a bank for cannabis, my cannabis banking business, what are the extra steps do I need to take? Is there documentation I need to provide? What does that look like?
Yeah, can you hear me okay, Leslie?
I can.
Everyone? All right, great. So we'll send you an email invitation to a platform that we've partnered with that's called Green Check. So that will walk you through answering all the questions about you and your business. And it also allows you to upload documents such as your ID, your contact information, your business formation documents. And a lot of what we ask for is what the state is asking for, right? So there's some worksheets that you fill out when you submit for your application. Those are your standard operating procedures, maybe your security plan, your operation plan, et cetera. So we're just asking you to drag those PDFs right over to that platform called Green Check. And it's quick, easy, simple, and we're proud of that partnership.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea. And can you just hit on what's the why behind that? Why do we ask for that?
Yeah, you bet. We asked for that to look through it, to understand your business, kind of what you've told the state. As a highly regulated cannabis industry, if you will, banks are held to that expectation as well. So it's just our added due diligence to really understand that and understand your sales and operations going forward as well.
Super. Thank you, Andrea. And you mentioned Green Check before. Green Check, of course, is our partner that we use for completing the application for banking with United Prairie for our businesses that would like to partner with us. So that Green Check has more than one purpose. Part of the state of Minnesota's requirements is that sales tracking piece that cannabis businesses are going to be required to do. Could you explain how we are able to support our business customers with that tracking and how that pertains to Green Check?
Yeah, you bet. So Green Check, it does allow banks to verify that businesses are meeting those requirements through an integration with your point of sale system or your invoicing system, so that your sales activity, it'll be automatically uploaded to that Green Check portal. It's quick, easy. If by chance, needed, then there's also a easy manual way you can upload invoices and sales files as well if we can't do that integration. Green Check's also a really great tool. We can communicate back and forth. We're doing that already. If we're missing a document or have a question and vice versa, you can send that to us as well.
Awesome, thank you. Mm-hmm. And then one question that comes up a lot when we're talking with potential clients is there a cost? What does it cost to, bank with any bank and specifically United Prairie Bank? Is there a cost and why is there additional costs?
Yeah, well, Leslie, there's no cost for the Green Check platform again. And then the business type that you're going into would determine any related fees. And I think we're going to get into that, or maybe you'll have something to show on that as well. Right now, Minnesota, of course, is we don't have the licenses right now. So they're going into a pre-licensed account type and later would move to something further that, whether it's direct, indirect, et cetera.
Okay. Yes, we will hit on we do have deposit account costs and application fees. I think we'll touch on that a little bit later. again, because of all the extra tools that we're providing with Green Check, all the extra due diligence that we need, we do have some, expenses to cover, and therefore we do have that application fee piece that we'll hit on a little later. And I think that's pretty common with banks that do offer cannabis banking services. So, all right, I'm gonna swap over to Mary Loftus. Mary Loftus again is our deposit and cash management expert, and a good handoff talking about costs. Mary, could you hit on what type of bank accounts are available to cannabis businesses, and specifically with United Prairie Bank? We get that question a lot, and we had that question posed for this Ask a Banker. Folks are interested in what we have to offer. I'll share the screen so you can refer to that and folks can see it.
Perfect. Of course, I'd be happy to tell you about our accounts. So we have 4 different types of checking accounts depending upon which business you're in. The first one is Grow First Checking. That's for the hemp-related, hemp-derived cannabis, indirect marijuana related. There is an application fee of $250, and there would be a monthly service fee of $50 on that account. The next account would be the Grow Light Checking. That's for pre-licensed, low-volume, indirect hemp, HTC, or marijuana related. That does have a $250 application fee, and there's a $2 per debit over 10 debits per month on that account. The Grow Green Checking is for our non-retail, direct marijuana related. That is a $500 application fee and a monthly service charge of $125. And the last type of checking account would be our Grow Pro Analysis Checking. That would be for the retail direct marijuana related. That does have an application fee of $500 and a $200 statement cycle fee. And then there could be monthly earnings credit on that one, 1% of the average available balance. And then our Grow High savings account, that's available to any business. You must have your primary operating checking account with the paid application fee. That does have a $5 fee if it falls below a $50 minimum balance.
Thank you, Mary. And then I'll just add, we have a minimum just opening deposit of $50 for our accounts. And then I know we get a question sometimes about, well, I don't know if I'm going to be licensed yet. I'm not really up and operating and ready to be able to pay monthly account fees at this time. We understand that. Mary, I think you get that question fairly frequently, and we will work with folks on that. We certainly understand that. We don't want to think the worst, but if licensing doesn't come through, then obviously we don't want to just sit and charge someone for an account they're not using. So we will work with businesses on that, understanding that you are a fledgling business, a seedling business getting ready to operate. So we will potentially waive fees until you're up and running. So that's absolutely something that we're willing to do. And then one more item I'll just point out is that you'll see on the screen there, we've got the Green Check verified transaction reporting. That's what Andrea touched on earlier. We provide that direct integration of your point of sale. That's a really nice benefit for you that you may have to cover in a different way, but we do provide that as part of our banking package. Any other additions on deposit accounts? Otherwise, I'll move on to the next question related to deposits. We hit it pretty good. Okay, Mary, we had a question on where are bank locations for deposits. I hit on where all of our locations are. Do you want to just share some of the other ways that you can deposit to a bank account, and then we'll circle into specifics on that, but we do have online services available as well.
We do. You would be able to ACH, you could wire funds to us. Katie, I think this is a big area of yours as well.
But yeah, accepting deposits. I mean, you want to go into that, Leslie? You want to talk about how we
Let's
accept
roll into that.
deposits?
We have a
So-
question. How I have all this cash coming in, right? It's a cash heavy business. How am I going to deposit my cash sales if I don't have a United Prairie branch in my city? How do I do that?
Sure. So depending upon the volume of cash, non-dispensaries, you can contract with a armored car service to deliver cash to a centralized location, and we would get notification of that. We would credit your account for that. So it's going to be through that armored car service that they would pick up your cash at your location. We would work with them and work with you, and you would get that credit for that cash. For dispensaries as a business, no matter the distance from one of our branch locations, we're actually going to require that you use an armored car service for security reasons, and that so we can manage those cash volumes, because again, the marijuana business is a cash heavy business. So we're expecting that. You guys should expect that as well. And we want everything to be secure in regards to that. We can provide referrals to the service that we use for our armored car, which is a Rochester Armored Car. If you don't live within their service area, there are other armored car services. There's Brinks, there's Loomis as examples that you can contract with, and we will work with you to determine how that credit is received from those we don't currently have a relationship with, and build that relationship with you through them. So that is how that cash can get to us. We don't want you to mail it in. That would not be safe. And we don't want you to have to drive to our locations if you are quite a distance away.
Thank you, Katie. There are other technology tools available for cannabis businesses that are cash heavy, whether or not you bank with United Prairie. You know, we get these questions a lot, so we want to address them and just help everybody out. So we got a question that asked, you know, about connecting to a smart safe service. Could you explain what is a smart safe and how that works with a banking relationship?
Sure. So a smart safe or a smart vault it's just what it is. It's a vault, but what it does is it tracks the cash that goes into it. It flags counterfeits, and it is secure in the fact that in a normal instance, only your armored car service can open that vault. And depending upon where you get that service from, we get notification of we could get notification of what you've deposited into that vault and give you provisional credit for that as well, so that you can monitor that cash flow and get credit for that cash that isn't necessarily in the bank, but we have notification that you have that cash. So that's what a smart safe can do, is provide that security for you as well in regards to the holding of that cash until the armored car service gets there and provide us notification of what you have on hand for cash. And we would work with you to determine the best course of action, depending upon who you contract that service through and what that all means to you and us.
Awesome. Thank you. How about wires and ACH? I know Mary touched on that a little bit ago. We get that question a lot. Can I do that with a cannabis bank account?
So unlike with your MasterCard and Visa, there are no network restrictions in regards to the ACH network, the wire network, the check network. So any cannabis customer can be eligible to apply for our cash management services. And that includes ACH origination, remote deposit, wire transfers, bill pay services, and positive pay. So you can use those services to manage your cash flow. You can use ACH to conduct payroll, accounts payables, receivables. You can send wires to your vendors to pay invoices. You can use remote deposits to deposit checks if you're going to be accepting checks. Since again, there's that whole issue with MasterCard and Visa and not being able to do debit card or credit card transactions. And then the positive pay services is to monitor for check and ACH fraud. And again, there's no restrictions on those industries when it comes to, or those networks when it comes to the marijuana industry, unlike MasterCard and Visa.
Right. So with those restrictions, of course, is a huge reason why it's a cash heavy business. So a lot of folks are learning from retailers in other states that having an ATM right on premise is a good way to go, so that customers, if they don't know and they come in and they don't have any cash, they can just quickly get some cash. So I know we have received questions about ATMs.
Absolutely.
So
So there's,
could you hit on that?
yes, definitely. So there's a couple different ways that your business can utilize an ATM. One is that you can purchase your own ATM. You can service it yourself, fund it yourself, and then you can gain that income from those fees assessed. We can provide referrals to ATM providers if this is the route you would like to choose. The second way is that we can place a bank-owned ATM in your business. This would be a risk-based decision on our end, and there would be certain requirements, of course, that we would need to that would need to be met before we do so. But that is an option as well that we would offer to certain businesses that qualify.
All right.
Just
So
a quick
basically, you
add
can go
on.
get your own, or we can help you with that.
Right. And if we help you with it, we would be managing it. We would be servicing it. We would be monitoring it 24/7. We would be handling all of those details of that ATM. And so I'm just adding that little piece to it.
You would not have to fill the machine, balance the machine, or anything like that if we owned the machine. If you did, that would be your responsibility, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. And on that topic of cash and payments, we have had a question about accepting credit card payment. Katie hit on it a little bit ago that MasterCard and Visa do not accept payment, of any kind through that network at this point in time. But is it an option for the future? Could there be, could we offer potentially credit card payments for our cannabis banking customers? That one I'm going to kick over to Shelly. She's got some very fun news that I think will be good for people to hear.
Absolutely. And Katie is also very knowledgeable in this space. So we have actually partnered with Fiserv to join the Excel network. And with the Excel network, as a business, we will be offering you a debit card for your business so that you can make purchases with that debit card. And in case you're running into spaces where businesses are not accepting it today. So it will be an unbranded card that you will be able to utilize to make your basic business purchases. You can go to Office Depot, Sam's Club, wherever it is that you may be utilizing and needing to make business purchases with. So that's from a business perspective. From an actual payment perspective and an acceptance of payments, being part of the Excel network, we will be partnering with the Excel network through Fiserv to export so that you will have an option to take Visa and MasterCard payments. These payments will all run on the Excel network, so they will bypass the Visa and MasterCard network. It will be an option, though, that you can be able to utilize and take an actual physical card payment. So we're super excited to get that up and going and be partnered with Fiserv.
Yep. And more to come on that. Anybody that is on this call that we have connectivity with, as we get more news on that front and that availability comes along, we'll be sure to let you know. I know a lot of folks were really excited about that when we had some of those conversations last month at the Lucky Leaf Expo. So that was a big one, because that's something that I want to make it all about promoting United Prairie, because we want to help answer your questions, but your bank may not have access to that network. That's a really good question to ask your bank if you don't bank with United Prairie, whether or not your bank does have that option. So
correct. And if you are interested, please be letting us know. We are absolutely looking for businesses that want to be part of that network and offering that solution to their customers. So please be speaking up or dropping us a ping, or even afterwards, letting us know if you're interested. I'd love to connect with you.
I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Noah Hartfield, and I'm the owner of Cryptic Cannabis from Minnesota here. We're still, still in the early stages of all of this. So as far as like grant money from the state, is that going to go into an account like this as well? to be used by that unbranded debit card, or is that going to be totally separate? Do you have that information?
I don't have the information that you're talking about in reference to the grant. It could be put into, yes, it would be put into basically one of these checking accounts, and then you would have the debit card that you could utilize to be able to basically use that money. Yes, that is a correct statement.
Perfect. That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, we are going to pivot a little bit now and move over to the lending side of the business. So we've hit on a lot of things that, reference a lot of retail if you're a retailer for cannabis, but no matter what kind of business you're looking at, a lot of times you might need some funding. And the great news is United Prairie Bank does offer lending for cannabis business. And I know Brandon gets a question all the time. What kinds of loans are available through United Prairie for cannabis business?
Yeah, hello. So what we do is once you're approved through the green check application process, we treat you just like any other customer that we have here at the bank. So we have our full array of services. We have construction loans, acquisition loans, machinery and equipment loans, lines of credit, whatever you need funding for, we have a way we can do it.
That's right. I know do you want to give some examples of inquiries you've had for different kinds of businesses?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty much anything you can think of. I'd say a big one I get is build outs, a lot of cultivation, have a lot of conversations around that. And essentially what you need to think of is how will something like this be collateralized. So what I tell people when I have conversations with them is sit down, put pen to paper, get an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, get a list of the machinery you're trying to purchase, get a good idea for the cost of a building you're looking to acquire. What does it cost to build that out? Really get a true understanding of the assets you're trying to acquire. And then we can have an intelligent conversation about how much I can advance on each type of asset you're bringing me. And that helps kind of further our conversation and structure a potential deal and lets you know how much cash or other source of equity do I need to have to accomplish this. So the more information you can bring me, the more value I can provide you for how something like whatever you're trying to do can be accomplished.
And it's just like really any other business that you're talking to on a day-to-day business
Yep.
for collateral.
Exactly.
That's right. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
One question that we had come in was around credit score. Is there a certain credit score or background needed for financing?
Yeah. So this is also a conversation I have, I'd say almost daily. So credit score, we'd say at least a 660. But I would say credit scores not the highest importance for when we're looking at a deal like this. It's really what you're trying to accomplish, and I want to say the expertise, but that's not really accurate because I majorly want to see a good business plan and that you have your ducks in a row. So one caveat with that is we'll fund startups. I get that question a lot too. So we're not afraid of startups. We understand that if we're going to be in this business, it's something we're going to have to do. But with that, I want to make sure you have a good business plan. If you don't have the expertise, you're working with a consultant that can kind of guide you through the first couple of years. So really, I want you to come with a full picture of what you want to do, how you're going to accomplish it, and show me that you've taken the steps necessary to show that you can be successful.
Super. Thanks, Brandon. We had a specific question come in around funding a cultivation site. I think it kind of just falls to what you said, but anything specific around a cultivation site for a loan? No,
I would just state again, put pen to paper and don't just have oh, I kind of want to do this or thinking about this. If you really want to get a good answer and have enough to make a decision, you need to understand what it's going to cost to acquire a building, what it's going to cost to do your build out on it, the equipment that you're going to need, what is your cost going to be for the first 6 months before you have any income. You need to fully think through these things and see how we fit together to find a solution to these problems.
Super. That is the last question we had in the lending realm. And then we had a good one come in around like federal backing FDIC insurance. So the question that came in was, how will you secure and insure my money without federal backing? Referencing that, marijuana is currently illegal federally, but of course state legal. So great question. Shelley, I think you were going to touch on that one for us.
Absolutely. It is a wonderful question. And particularly if, again, cash intensive, we're expecting your deposits to, successful businesses, and we're expecting your deposits to run large. And so if you have concerns, if you're over that 250,000, you want to be making sure that we are putting those funds, that they're backed, and they are secured. We have different levers that we can pull. I mean, most simplistically, we can be pledging and doing like a repurchase type of agreement. We can be working with some of our other partners that are in the industry as well to be able to make sure that we're diversifying and getting you all of the security that you need for those funds. So in short, you just need to be speaking with us, expressing the interest, and we can be working with you to identify what does that look like and how to meet those needs.
And the best news of all is that United Prairie is a very sound bank. So we don't, we are very regulatorily sound. We're well, established and in good shape where we don't feel it's a worry, but like Shelley said, we have tools to support that concern if it comes up. So thank you. I'm not going to say it's a question we've had, but it was kind of maybe an unknown that came up, especially when we were at the Lucky Leaf Expo there as a bank saying, hey, we're going to provide banking services for cannabis businesses. We had folks either from other states that recognized that this is an issue. And the statement just is that all banks in Minnesota are not going to be supporting cannabis businesses. So that's something that we have a little bit of concern that's not widely known. So we just wanted to make sure that we brought it up today, that I talked to one gentleman that was from a different state at the Lucky Leaf that said he had been, I guess, fired, so to speak, like from five different times because he had some relationships at different banks in a different state. And once he entered the space, it was like, you got to get out and you got to get out now. So, the sooner you can be considering your partners, the better, and having those conversations with your current bankers. I don't know if anybody else from the team or even our callers have any experience or just items for that conversation to add.
I'll just add a little bit, and I am definitely looking for anyone on the call to add in and add some context. As Leslie was just alluding to, particularly when the actual licenses, so this is your licensed customers, it's different than what our hemp customers have been. And financial institutions need to really make a very dedicated investment in the management of the cannabis industry. And what you will find is, and what I encourage you to be doing, is having that conversation with your financial institution. If your institution has not decided that they're going to bank cannabis, it's not something that they can just do on the whim. There's a lot of due diligence and behind the scenes. The regulators across the board are looking at, I's need to be dotted, T's need to be crossed from a financial institution perspective. And that's part of, as we talk about, like, why is there a due diligence or why is there an onboarding application fee? There's a lot of, I'll call it even red tape, just for simplicity perspective, behind the scenes, that as a financial institution, we need to meet the needs of how are we managing everyone in the industry? How are we managing all of our customers? And that's part of why a number of institutions will opt out. Or as Leslie referred to, sometimes you'll have institutions that will say, hey, we're in, and they have an exam of some sort and they find that, hey, they're maybe deficient in some places. It is one of the first places that the regulators will say, hey, this is an industry that you need to exit, and you need to exit immediately. And so it's just to be aware of that. It's to make sure, have the conversation early on with your financial institution. You do not want to be kind of just, hey, assuming I have a hemp account with them already, or I'm below that 3% threshold today. You get a license and now you're doing additional activity. That does not mean the same thing for them. That it is two different requirements from a regulation perspective, and you want to make sure that you're really being very upfront with your institution, because otherwise you may find yourself in a spot where you have less than 30 days to find a new institution. And so I'm going to leave it at that. Unless there's other questions out there, I can take us down a really big rabbit hole, but I want to make sure, I'm meeting your needs and giving you a chance to ask any questions of the entire team.
Yeah, I'm going down my list and I think we've checked off everything that was submitted beforehand. So anyone on the call, please unmute or feel free to message in the chat. Do you have any other questions that our banking team could ask, whether it's specific to United Prairie or just general banking needs and queries that you have regarding your business?
Say, this is David Holland. I'm sorry, but I have a previous engagement at 2:00. I'm gonna have to bag out here. Just one question. I'm looking forward to catching the rest of this conversation that you're recording. We're applying, I have applied for a cultivars license and a transportation license. So any further questions or anything else pertaining to I'll be interested in catching up later on. But so far this has been very informative, and look forward to working with the bank as we go forward in this very cash heavy business.
Yeah. And Dave, what I would recommend is, and I just want to add on to that, if you are not already working with a bank, even though you don't have your license yet, I would encourage you all to be starting now. Don't wait for your license. We can support it, but other institutions can as well. We actually, from an industry perspective, we want you starting that conversation early on before you have the licenses.
We have a hemp license that we're already dealing with your bank with that. So we've dealt in the past with your bank, and it's been very very positive. So going from the hemp into the cannabis, we have existing greenhouses. We're not going ground up. I am interested about some of the financing or possible financing and stuff, but we're pretty well secured with our investors right now as far as cash and where we're going. So anyway, and again, I apologize. I've got a dash, but if you could send me a link so I can pick up the rest of this meeting, I would really appreciate it.
We sure will. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dave.
If you ever want to kick ideas around, just give me a call and we can talk through it.
I will. You're on my list already.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. How about our other attendees? Are there other questions that you have?
I'm curious, while you're all thinking and pausing for a moment, another idea that it's very much in the infant stages, but we're tossing around. Is there an interest to offer an alternative payment channel that's somewhat of your customer would walk in, you would give them a QR code, or they would scan a QR code and then be able to transfer money from that perspective? It would run on the ACH rails. It's moving money, on that channel, but it's something else that we are exploring. We are not there yet. I'm curious if it's something that's of any interest to any of you. Is it something that you're like, yeah, that makes sense, and that hey, as United Prairie Bank, you definitely should be exploring that?
What about cryptocurrency?
It's not something that we've actually leaned into yet. Are you seeing, hearing, sensing that crypto is something that you're getting requests for?
Yes.
Okay.
By several of my family members and close friends. None that really are in the cannabis industry, but they just decided to ask the question because it's a good question. So I just
Okay.
wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
Okay. At this point in time, that's not on the radar for us to incorporate here, but I definitely will take that. I love that you're bringing it up, and hopefully we can circle back around.
Thank you.
Thank you. What else is on anyone's minds? Anything we didn't answer today, or topics that you would really hope that we would dive into a little bit more?
Okay. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. We'll do one last call. Not seeing any. Thank you so much for joining today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you. We're here to help. You'll see on the screen there, I've got Brandon and Mary's information. Brandon is our expert, all things lending, business banking. Mary on deposit cash management side. Visit us online. We do have a group email address. It's cannabis@unitedprairiebank.com, and that kind of comes to a good chunk of the team that's on the call today. So if you have just other questions that you think of afterwards that we didn't answer, please ping us. I've got our socials on the screen there too if you want to follow us and kind of learn more about United Prairie. But again, thank you so much for joining us today. We will get this recording available to those not in attendance. Anything else from the team before we wrap up?
More than
No.
anything, we're here to help you. And if it's, bounce ideas off of us, help you, figure out what your business plans look like, how to be able to navigate the industry even, please utilize us. We've a number of experts on the team. The team has done an amazing job of leaning into the industry and understanding how to navigate the industry as well. So please utilize us. We're here to help you. We want to help you. And we're excited to have the conversation.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Team.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.